Nestled beside the Tasman Sea, you'll find the Central Coast Mariners Stadium. With pristine beaches to its side and giant sauce bottles at the end of the pitch, it might be the last place in the world you'd expect to see football's laws being bent to their limit. But if we take a look inside, you'll see that the game down under is a place where footballing logic quietly unravels every single match day. In the 50th minute of the 2024 A-League Grand Final, Jason Garia, the Melbourne Victory right back, blasted in a shot from the edge of the box. For Vidukic, standing in the Central Coast net, he could only watch as the shot rippled into the top of the net. It was a goal worthy of a Grand Final win, but being worthy doesn't always work in the A-League. In extra time, the Mariners scored the equalizer, and after the clock had ticked past 100 minutes, they put the nail in the coffin with 2 more. And when Vidukic hoisted the trophy into the sun in the middle of the Mariners Stadium, he would never have predicted that they would be right back next to the Golden Sands and surrounded by their giant sauce bottles, lifting the trophy again the following season. But he should have known right at that moment that predictions don't work in the A-League, because just one season after their second Grand Final win in a row, they were scraping the bottom of the league table and playing some of the worst football in the country. Something strange is happening to the football clubs across the Australian and New Zealand fields, from Alex Paulsen's heroics pushing the Knicks deeper into the finals than ever before, to the Roar thinking they'd bounce back in 2014, only to crash and burn the following year. Success doesn't seem to be securing a club's future. In fact, it might just be the opposite: champions one season and struggling the next. Clubs facing a spectacular fall from grace isn't a new phenomenon. We only need to look in Geilenkirchen, Germany, a city maybe no one would have known existed if it wasn't for Schalke. Today, it's a fallen German giant on life support, a club whose legacy runs deep, but whose dark blue kit has become almost cursed, after years of sliding slowly down the German tiers. A story so sad, it even reached the star-studded stages of Hollywood, where Jimmy Kimmel questioned why Taylor Swift would ever go near the city, and why was there a 60,000-seater stadium there anyway? Well, not that many years prior, the Royal Blues walked these fields proudly, with their heads held high and the Champions League tune blaring. Before them, Rooney, Scholes, Giggs and Vidic, and a Champions League semi-final. They didn't win it, but they would never have guessed that within 4 years from that moment, the Royal Blues had fallen to the German second tier. But even if it had felt so sudden, it had been a slow process, with disaster signs written on the walls for years. Schalke never had a lack of star players produced in Geilenkirchen: Neuer, Boateng, Sane, Huntelaar and Özil. But it's what they did with their stars where it all went wrong. Chronic mismanagement of reinvesting funds, both in the squad and staff, relying purely on their big club status to continue moving forward. A downward trend often seen in clubs trying to simply ride the waves of their successful past. For Schalke, this house of cards came crashing down after just one financial crisis. Some are able to hold on for longer. But even for them, it was a painful demise that took years in the making. In the A-League, a slow fall is rarely seen, and it's almost impossible to predict what will happen to your club the following season, after the good or the bad. The Mariners were neck and neck with the Wellington Phoenix for much of the 23-24 A-League season, and when the dust had settled on the regular season, there had only been 2 points between them at the top of the table. That season, the Knicks were a club that would fly giant distances to far-fetched stadiums, and when they got there, squeeze points from their opponents by the finest margins. Defenders would put their bodies on the line, backed by a keeper who didn't set a foot wrong the entire season. It was looking like the first time in their 20-year history where everything was finally falling into place. But their defensive heroics would not outshine the Mariners, who were flying higher than ever. The club from the Australian coast would end the season as not only the A-League premiers, but Grand Final winners, with an AFC trophy to boot. By the following year, both teams were treading water at the bottom of the table, with squads stripped of their talismanic players who used their momentum to launch themselves to Europe, to football fields that couldn't be further away from where it all began, leaving behind a world of broken nets, seagulls and football franchises, a footballing world that keeps going after they leave, but for it to do so, things have to get a little weird. The obvious question is, why didn't the Phoenix simply use the funds from their mass exodus to buy new players? Why not sign the best talent from the clubs they share the league with? Well, because they can't. Transfers between A-League clubs are technically allowed, but in practice, they're almost impossible. And even when they are allowed today, they might be banned tomorrow. The rules are constantly changing. This is what it looks like when a football league is trying to find its way. Wellington Phoenix's reward for their best ever league campaign wasn't a solid foundation to build on. It was a transfer rule change. Auckland FC liked what they saw in the goalkeeper Alex Paulsen, and they found a loophole to get him. First, AFC Bournemouth, who share the same owner as Auckland FC, bought Paulsen. Then, they immediately loaned him to Auckland for their debut season. The move was eerily similar to the infamous transfer of Anthony Cacares in 2016, bought by Manchester City from the Central Coast Mariners and then immediately loaned out to Melbourne City. Both clubs share the same owners. The move resulted in the A-League placing a ban on multi-club owners transferring, a rule change coined the Cacares Clause. So why did Auckland FC get away with it? Because the A-League agreed that the rule was now out of date. Multi-club ownership has slowly become the lifeblood of this young league, where experienced owners of clubs from across the world have taken a keen interest. And for that cash injection to last into the future, the league has to be accommodating. And standing in the middle of it all is Alex Paulsen, gloves on. Not just the best keeper in the league, but the living proof of a league rewriting its own rules in real time, a symbol of a league still learning what it wants to be. We have to remember that for professional football to continue to survive here, the clubs have to be like this. It was the only way for professional football to exist after the collapse of the NSL, and ever since it's been a seesaw, balancing between financial stability and pure chaos. Clubs are franchises scattered across thousands of kilometers from each other that exist within their own islands, fishing for talent in their own state, city, or sometimes an entire country. Talent that will have to decide whether to sign on to a club that might not even exist the next season, or maybe it didn't even exist in the last. Broadcasters that change their minds, investors that disappear overnight, owners that try to force players out of a club to balance the books. Everything can change in a moment, and in a league like this, continuity is rare, both on and off the pitch. Champions one season and struggling the next is a more likely outcome in the A-League than any other league in the world. But it also means that this league has given nearly all of its franchises a chance to shine when things do go well. Talents to emerge, memories to be made, and trophies to be hoisted into the golden sun. Turning on an A-League match is like stepping into that world, moments of spectacular football followed by a shocking howler, moments that shouldn't exist side by side, but always do. This is a footballing frontier, the most unpredictable league in the world, and in its instability, it quietly teaches the rest of the world something profound, what makes a football club rise, and what makes one fall, because here, nearly every club has felt both. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and goodbye.